But yeah, like I was saying earlier, we're just four siblings trying to value add grain on our farm. So we got started distilling in 2017. We're second generation organic farmers. And the reason with that, our dad with the original home farm, at the time that he was taking over, and my parents were taking over that, it was a mindset of you either had to get bigger or you had to specialize. And so to get bigger on the farm scale, that would have been fighting close neighbors and family and all that. And so he decided to specialize, and that's what really built out the mindset within us of we can specialize and value add the grain in order for all of us to stay in because it's the original home farm is 400 acres. And if any farmer is out here listening, they will know that trying to feed five families off of 400 acres is going to be really difficult. So this allows us to all stay involved and all still tie it back to the farm there. So explaining a little bit about the farm itself, we operate multiple fields that range from a 4 to 7 year crop rotation and a total about 15 different crops. So we have multiple species of open pollinated and hybrid crops for corn, for rye, for wheat, oats. We integrate a lot of livestock. And so having all that ability at our disposal, it makes it really well for the distilling industry that we can then take our spent grains and then that goes and feeds livestock as well as utilizes fertilizers. So we're keeping a lot of that fertility there. And the crop rotation, as I'll get into later, can really help us bring out some of these flavors. And it's led us, especially with the open pollinated grains, really got into some crop breeding. So and that was the study of my oldest brother Will was actually into that crop breeding. So we've forced in some genetics that do well on our soil type, and as well as integrating in some of the flavors. As well, we integrate in native plants and ecosystems where we can. So we'll analyze the farm. If an acre is not necessarily profitable, what we're going to do is we're going to put that into a native plant stand, and that's going to allow for diverse mycorrhizal fungi, diverse microbes within the soil to be coming back out and benefit our crops, and as well as native insect communities. So we could actually see an increase in our test weights of some of our plants that get pollination from the actual insects. And so what that does is that's going to allow for higher yields within the spirits and as well as more complex flavors. And then we have naturally occurring fertility. Like I said, with livestock, we're going to rotate it around. So instead of pumping in synthetic fertilizers and salts, which can kill off and destroy soil microbes, we're going to be bringing in more naturally occurring ones that are going to be readily available for those microbes. And as the microbes digest it, makes it available for the plant, and it's available for the plant, puts it towards the seed and goes through. And as well, we've been tracking the response with the whiskey and actually have come up with quite a bit of little nuances that as we go further in, it pairs off well with the research that other professors and stuff have been finding, and we've been able to implement it on our farm and showcase it there. So the big thing here is we're going to be talking about flavor. And flavor is, I mean, it is very complex. It is a mix of taste, aroma, textures, temperatures, sound, memory, all that fused in just so your brain can say this thing tastes like blank. And it's really fascinating how we can with the science and the research out there is pinpointing out some of these different nuances and chemical compounds that create the flavor. But it is complex. And so we have this chart here, and I had to make sure it was a very complex chart putting up here because you have all these different compounds that create all these different chemical classes that create all these different flavors, and they come from different areas. And we're going to be focusing a lot on the grain and farm side of the creation of these. But they create themselves the entire way. So we can change in and add some of those different flavors based off of our growing conditions. So the things we're going to dive into, the two big ones that we have experience with is going to be varietal selection. So that is grain variety, and then environmental conditions. And both of those are what's driving the flavor. But the big way, or ultimately, it is the farmer management decisions that are going to be forcing that flavor and can tweak it of going one way or the other. If they know they're going to be in a drought area, they can plant a more drought tolerant species or variety, and that's going to affect that. If they want to stress it, they can force in a stress. So we've actually partaken in some flavor varietal research. So we worked with the Integrated Bioprocessing Research Lab. This is out of University of Illinois, so that's where we're located. I guess I didn't mention that earlier. That yeah, we're right there in East Central Illinois, just north of the U of I. So and all of us are U of I grads, so it was really fitting for us to work with them, and they had a lot of fun with this particular project. So we looked at these different corn varieties. So as as you should know, yellow dent corn is not the only corn in the world. Everyone's, as a kid was always painting corn corn yellow on their little homework projects. But what we're noticing that my brother's 6-year-old, he'll actually throw whatever color of corn out there because he's planted blue hybrid corn, bloody butcher, all that. So we looked at these particular varieties and we distilled them out on their experimental test stills. So we kept them pretty just looking at the hearts cuts. We have the same regiment of making our cuts based off proof as we were doing this to try to limit the amount of variables with it. So whenever we came through with the sensory panel, we would have the most consistency in just looking at the grain. And this was all white distillate, so we did not have any aged spirit. That is hopefully going to continue on this research panel. But so we looked at the grain came from 6 different farms throughout the Great Lakes region. We used the exact same yeast, the exact same fermentation on every single sample to try to make it constant. Cuts were made by the temperature and not flavor or aroma because we were not wanting to have that play into a bias. And we're looking to 60 to 80% final whiskey's flavors comes from the barrel. So we were like, well, we're not going to do anything. We're going to look at it unaged. And we looked at the tasting orders. So as anyone knows, alcohol tends to alter the palate after long periods of usage, and that was actually prevalent within our tasting panel. So we had a mix of different people within the industry. So we had researchers, retailers, farmers, distributors, distillers, enthusiasts, professionals, all that thrown in here. And this is kind of their ranking. So they had the high score, low score, going across of which ones they preferred